Welcome back, everybody, to the Omniverse Comics Guide podcast. We are your Omniverse Comics Guide guys.
Oh, we stopped.
That's Dave. I'm Eric. Flipped it around. Welcome to the show, everybody. Everybody that's watching on Twitch, thank you for tuning in with us. For everybody that's watching on the YouTube, thank you, everybody, for watching. Give us a thumbs up, a subscribe, all that good stuff. A review, even if you don't like what we're doing, tell us what we could do better. And everybody on the podcast platforms that might be listening on your way to work or while you're at work, thank you for tuning in. And don't forget to check out the omniversecomics.guide. Dave, that's a great site. You're doing such a good job.
Oh,
Check it out, everybody. For all of the podcasts that we've had previously, interviews, collector item specials. There's even a section for getting kids into comics.
Yeah.
Check it out. It's well worth your while if you want to find something to read and not be confused.
I've technically got an Omniverse Mail Bag.
I love it. Let's get into the mailbag. That is a great mailbag pose.
Thank you. It's the closest I'll get to it. Not a very mail pose, but a mailbag pose. So this is technically a part 2. So a few episodes back, I was very kindly sent a copy of Petrolhead.
Oh, yeah. That's in my... Yeah, I'm about to purchase that.
It's brilliant. I've finished it. I'm rating it very, very highly. You will see this again. You will. I'm going to get back to doing reviews as well. And if I do drop one soon, that doesn't sound good. If I drop one soon, you'll see just how highly I read this. I love this book. But there was a mention of artwork in the box, and I assumed it was the stickers that I found. They were a bonus. The artwork in question was this beaut. Check it. That is Petrolhead in his car, driving around, looking saucy.
Man.
Yeah,
nice.
That's an original piece. That's an original Piper piece. It's the blues and the pencils. Like, it's crazy.
So cool.
I'm not going to lie. I had a little tear when I found it. It made me really emotional. Like, oh, it was just such a nice thing. So,
that's so good. I love that. I'm so happy for you, dude.
Yeah,
that's great.
You. That's going to go up in my new pad. So it will be here. You may not see it in shot, but it will be here. Pride of place.
That's great. I love it. All right. Are we ready for incoming for August?
Let's do the incoming, man. Right. Well, no pressure. My first pick for tonight is, and I know we say this all the time, we never do like middle volumes and stuff, but we do beginning volumes and end volumes. So this is to let you know that this is the final book of this series. This is Friday, Volume 3 by Ed Brubaker, Marcos Martin, and Munzer Vicente. I'm not 100% on the pronunciation. Apologies, as always, from England. This is Volume 3. I have Volumes 1 and 2 here. I'm going to hold them up a little bit because of my weird lighting. I know that they seem big there because they're closer. That's how science works. But they're quite little, look. Only the size of a human head. Well, I've got quite a big head. But, you know. Don't forget, cost my mum a leg. So they are quite little. It didn't really. She's got 2 legs.
I go, what?
She's still got 3 legs. It's all fine. So, yes, they are quite small.
About Friday.
But it's a 3-part series, which is what's inspired by stuff I don't really know anything about. So I kind of don't 100% get all the references. But it's just a nice little detective series about a teenage girl looking into a mystery in her hometown when she moves back to it.
I feel like is that the tie-in with Encyclopedia Brown? Is there anything to do with that?
Oh, I don't know what that is. What's that?
Okay. Forget. So Encyclopedia Brown was like a little novel series that when I was a kid was quite popular, kind of like the Babysitter's Club or like just a series of adolescent to teen novels.
Oh,
and he
maybe
was
it's
a
inspired by
kid
that.
detective. And I remember Sam Noir, a friend of mine, comic creator, telling me that he was doing like the sort of like a fan fiction on his website.
Yeah.
But I don't remember if it was Friday that he was describing. That's why I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But it's basically that, yeah. It's about a teenage girl comes back to her hometown and she's investigating a bit of a mystery, and then that mystery gets increasingly dark. So even though it seems like a kid-friendly size book, and on the surface it seems relatively kid-friendly, it's not. It gets quite heavy. But it's great. It's a great little series. Marcos Martin's art is so clean and clear and so well-paced, and it suits the tone of the book fantastically. I really like the size as well, but this is the conclusion to the whole story. So if you've been kind of waiting on Friday, or waiting for the conclusion and seeing what the overall feel is. I don't know how it ends, so I don't know if the ending is going to be like a winner, but so far it's been a winner with volumes 1 and 2, and I'm going to reread these before 3 comes out and do it in one sitting.
Nice.
Because I think it will benefit more by doing it in that way.
Can't go wrong with Ed Brubaker. My first pick also happens to be an Ed Brubaker book, which is Houses of the Unholy from Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, the usual.
I saw that on the
the usual team up. At this point, they've done so much together. Super successful tandem. This one is in the horror genre. Now, I didn't even read the dialogue in the word bubbles from the preview that was on the website, but just the storytelling and seeing what happens. So if I remember correctly, it's a former FBI agent or CIA agent who worked in the criminal cult department.
Okay.
Finds themselves wrapped up in a mystery alongside somebody who was linked to the Satanic Panic, and horror and all these other things ensue. I don't want to spoil too much, and I don't want to have to read the entire description because there's another book that I might do that with today. So, but in this case, it's Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, and just the art in itself, the storytelling in the panels. It's like I don't even know what they're saying, but I know what's happening, and that in itself is a sign of a good comic. When you don't need all the words to tell you where we're at in the story and emotionally. And again, small window of preview where you're just kind of scrolling through it to see what it's going to look like. Can't go wrong with Ed Brubaker. I mean, it sounds repetitive. That's the first pick, second pick, but
yeah, that's true.
All right.
I guess.
Your number 2,
My
Dave?
number 2, dude, is Army of the Dead Forever, which is written by Tony Fleecs, who is best known for Stray Dogs and Local Man. Army of Darkness, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a film. It's the third of the Evil Dead trilogy that Sam Raimi made. It's really weird, and I've got a real soft spot for it. It's a proper B-movie that knows it's a B-movie. When Raimi started making slightly higher budget films, he kind of went back and made the sequel to Evil Dead 2. Basically, you only need to watch Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. That's you sorted. Don't bother with the first one. The second one is technically the first one remade. But anyway, Army of Darkness, Ash, the main character, ends up going through time, and it's all about him trying to get back and also fighting the Deadites and all this. So this is like a conclusion to that whole story, because there are 2 versions of the ending of that film as well, and I think this picks up on if I read rightly, it picks on the director's cut version and tells us what happened to Ash next. And I love that film, man. It's so stupid. It's a proper get home from the pub when you're a little bit pissed, and stick it on and just kind of laugh at it because it's just so silly.
Those are the best movies.
Yeah. It's dumb.
There's always room for them. There's always room for those in the collection.
Plenty. The art's by Justin Greenwood. I'm not familiar with his art, but I'm just happy to take a punt on this regardless, because it's Army of Darkness. It's Tony Fleecs. How can you go wrong? I want it. So, yeah. Let's see if it makes it onto the top 20 of the year.
I like that. I want it. Beautiful. Good. All right. My next pick, I think we kind of discussed it a little bit in an episode or 2 ago. I'm not sure which one it was, but anyways, it's going to be the Amazing Spider-Man Brand New Day Omnibus.
Ooh.
If you want to get into Spider-Man and you don't know where to begin, this is literally a new beginning, right? It's in the title, Brand New Day. It picks up right after the One More Day debacle, which you don't need to read to kind of figure out where we are.
Don't read One More Day.
Don't read it. You'll get I'm pretty sure they're going to include a synopsis at the beginning of this book to let you know what the new status quo of Spider-Man's life is.
Yeah.
He's a bachelor again. It may feel a little bit convoluted if you've watched the cartoon or where's Mary Jane and why aren't they married? Just go with it.
Yeah.
He's a bachelor again, working for the Daily Bugle. He's Spider-Man. Read it.
You're figuring it out as you go anyway, because
figure it out as you go, like old school comics were.
Yeah. If they don't do a recap, they may just rerun the last couple of pages of Amazing Spider-Man 545, because it kind of starts there. But then you're literally even then just going, what's going on? What's happening now? Why are they back? You know as much as anyone else, going in. So it gives you a chance to start fresh.
Exactly. I think when I remember reading that fresh off the shelf as it was happening, and I was figuring it out as I read it, what everything was.
Yeah.
So you won't feel like, oh, I'm supposed to know all of it. No, just go along with it. And it's a fast-paced Spider-Man era. There's a writing team and an art team that switches every couple of weeks, which keeps the art and storytelling fresh.
Yeah.
At times, you wish it would just stay with one creative team, but
Yeah.
this was part of that time, and it's an ongoing story.
How far does
it was
it
almost
take
like a
us?
weekly comic at the time. So you're really keeping up with the character. It almost feels like real time because this book was coming out weekly.
What,
So
it was
you were getting
3 issues,
yeah,
wasn't it? 3 issues a month.
3 issues a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were getting Spider-Man stories. I just remember my pile being so, I'm like, man, there's a lot of Spider-Man all the time, which at first I liked because I'm like, great, more story to read. But after a while, it became a task to keep up with the book if you were buying other things as well. But there's some gems that come out of this era, and there's early Dan Slott work on Spider-Man before he takes over as the main writer.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a fun place to start. I remember having a little bit of that New 52 attitude towards it. It was like, after 100 days, it sucks. But going back and reading through it, it was fun. There's a lot of good stuff to take out of this era, and where we are or where we went with a lot of the Spider Island and Superior Spider-Man and so many different Dan Slott plot twists and turns. A lot of it, the seeds were planted where this series begins again.
Yeah.
It's like a literally brand new day for Spider-Man. So if you want to jump on into a modern day era, here's where the last 20 years begin.
So yeah, it's 1,280 pages. It covers Amazing Spider-Man 546 to 583 and a lot of the tie-in books and annuals and stuff. So that includes the big revelation about what happened to Flash Thompson, which is actually quite an important story. New Ways to Die is in there, which is a pretty cool Venom and Thunderbolt story. So Spidey's going up against Norman Osborn in his new post-Civil War role. But this is the Spider-Man title finding its feet again after Civil War and the big changes that came from Civil War, and it's kind of trying to put the genie back in the bottle. I was going to say that it's worth picking up if you're a person that can't have a volume 2 without a volume 1, but actually there is some of the good stuff is in volume 1.
Dave, take it away.
My next one tonight, my number trio, I really need to learn some other languages, is one I thought we'd fight over, so I'm taking it now, it seems. Superman Lost, written by Christopher Priest. The art's by Carlo
Pagulian, I think it is.
Thank you so much.
This wasn't anywhere on my radar.
No?
No.
Well,
continue, please.
It's an interesting one. I mean, so I will blurb it for a minute. It says, when a routine Justice League mission goes awry, Superman must make a 20-year journey home. But he feels like a stranger when he returns to a world where no time has passed at all. Lois Lane awakens to find a complete stranger standing in her living room. The Man of Steel, home much sooner than expected, reveals he has in fact been lost in space for 20 years. I won't go into it any further. I think it's like an 6 or 8, maybe an 8-issue mini. It doesn't specify here. It's 264 pages, and it's written, like I said, by Christopher Priest. I'm a big fan of Christopher Priest.
Christopher Priest is one of those writers who I feel those who know sing his praises, and then there's a lot of people who might have not crossed his path, but he's a solid comic book writer.
Very smart.
And it's there's like I don't want to sound pretentious, but he's not a first time comic book reader. If you're getting into comics, I don't know if you start with him. If he was a film director, is there someone you could compare him to? Because he's got a style. There's a signature thing of Christopher Priest where he blends seriousness with humor, as well as making things very cinematic and scene changes.
He's not a Tarantino person, but in terms of that, the way it cuts around is quite Tarantino-esque, or at least kind of Pulp Fiction-esque. But there's quite a political edge to him, and his humor isn't the same as that. So I wouldn't necessarily compare him to anybody, but I think like a new reader could try a Christopher Priest book if they think comics are just dumbed down crap for kids, right? And you go like, try this. You know, True. It isn't. So like, it just depends what a reader wants, I think. It
seems to be a 10-issue series.
Oh, it's 10.
And I'm so under the radar for this, and it's right up my alley because I love Superman.
Mm-hmm.
I love Christopher Priest, and I
Mm-hmm.
would love to see his take on the character, especially if he's allowed to spread his wings, as it were.
Yeah, he can cut loose on this. It's continuity free, I think.
Right.
We're going old to the Omniverse this week. So our top 5 most popular pages on the site from the past couple of weeks are as follows. Number 5, it's Transformers Marvel era reading order from the 1980s to the 1990s. Number 4, it's the Warworld Saga starring Superman. Incredibly popular era, that one. Number 3, it's Wonder Woman New 52 reading order. That's suddenly shot up. I don't know why. And number 2,
I like this countdown.
it's the
It's
Invincible
great.
Universe reading order, 2002 to 2018. And number 1, it's Ultimate Spider-Man reading order, once again. Peter Parker era, 2000 to 2018. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Boo!
I might be stealing one from you this time. I'm definitely stealing one from
This
you.
is gonna hurt.
So, should I pick something else?
No, dude.
I'll leave.
Take it.
Yeah, screw you, Dave. I'm gonna go. I've been waiting for this, and I
know
think
what
me
it's
and
gonna be.
you do. Yeah, and what's exciting is that it's gonna complete the series. I'm talking about Firepower Volume 2 from Robert Kirkman and Chris Samnee. Like I've often described his artwork as being perfection when it comes to sequencing. You don't need many words in a Chris Samnee drawn book because the motion of it is just so great. I love the first volume of it. It's just a page turner. That deluxe volume, the hardcover, the artwork is meant to be seen in that size, I think, as well, because it's cinematic, episodic, and you just find yourself completely immersed with this story. I don't want to cheapen it and say it's like, if you like Iron Fist, you'll like this, but it kind of is like that, right? If you do like Iron Fist and that sort of lore of the mythology of like kung fu and all that sort of ninja stuff, it seems paint by numbers. I've heard that story before. Trust me, this is really, really good. Because it goes back into the small town aspect of years later, the consequences of your prior life.
Yeah.
Check it out. But again, we don't usually recommend volume 2s, but we do like to do beginning and ends.
We do.
Of this stuff.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if it was going to be a much longer running series, so when they said it was going to finish with volume 2 in terms of the deluxes, it's like, oh, okay. I thought this was going to run on much longer, but nay, we got the complete thing. Now, I try and avoid doing reprints where possible. Because, we're probably talking about my previous episodes. Yeah, but, we all got our own little rules, don't we? Well, I've got rules. So this one, this is one that I've wanted for months now. It's weird because I regretted passing on this book when it initially came out in 2020. About a year ago, I just went, damn, I should have got that book. And it was on my watch list for stuff. It's like, if it pings up, I'm going to nab it. But it's got to be a good price because it's really hard to get a hold of now. I didn't think they'd reprint it. So that's the suspense built up for you. Bit of a surprise. It's Swamp Thing by Nancy A. Collins, Omnibus. It's 984 pages. It covers Swamp Thing 110 to 139, Annual 6 to 7, Black Orchid number 5, which I guess is a tie-in, and Vertigo, a story from Vertigo, Jan number 1. It was funny. I think when I was sorting through my books, I realised I only have one Swamp Thing omnibus.
Me too.
And I kind of feel like
New 52 one.
Yeah, the New 52 one. I kind of feel like I want more, even to the point where I didn't like the run, but if they release Alan Moore's run in Omni format, I will probably get it.
Me too.
I think I need to read it as a comedy instead of trying to take it seriously, because it is laughable. It's just like a wanking teenager.
Yeah. I think often the overhype of things can often either make you like something because it's like, well, everyone said it was good, so I'm going to like it, or can make you resent it because, like...
Or you're going, like, this is what everyone's been praising?
Right. And it all depends on when you approach it. It's almost like trying to tell somebody you got to watch 1977 Star Wars, and, like, that's just the best science fiction movie. And they'd watch it like it looks like Muppets. It's ridiculous. If you're right, they wouldn't appreciate what it was for its time for the fans that love it so much. It's hard to like
Yeah.
sometimes sell someone brand new on it if they don't. Same thing I think with Alan Moore sometimes.
Sometimes I think it's like I've said before in the past. It's the is of it. It's the definite of it. He is the best.
Yeah.
This is the greatest. Whereas that's why I want to try this Nancy Collins run, because I haven't heard much about it. You know, the cover's nice and creepy. I hope that's a textured cover, because it looks like something you really just want to touch. It looks all mossy and bumpy and swamp
It
thingy.
does look very cool. Yeah.
But I don't know if it's good. And this is my gamble. So it's a reprint, it's a gamble, I just really want to give this a shot. I think this then leads into, I could be wrong, but I think this then leads into the Mark Miller, Grant Morrison period of Swamp Thing. So
Okay.
I'm kind of filling in those gaps. Oh, it says, along with behind the scenes artwork, original proposal for Arcane Blood, an unpublished Swamp Thing miniseries by Collins as well. So there's all sorts of stuff in this one. So yeah, well worth picking up.
Nice. Okay, my number 4. We talked a lot about this character last week, and I don't think we listed a storyline from this series, which originally was titled Cable Deadpool, whereas now listed as Deadpool Cable. It's coming out in the newly formatted Marvel Epic Collection.
Ew.
And it's just, I think it's appropriate to mention it, one, because if you like Marvel Comics, if you like the nostalgia as well as the pop culture that Marvel Comics can dip their toe into comedically in a comic book format, this is a book for you. It's time travel, it's high action, buddy, comic style, mixes with the X universe and all that stuff. The Epic Collection is a great place to start. It's the first 18 issues. It's a lot, you get a good bang for your buck, and you'll be thinking of something to read in regards to Deadpool after that movie comes out. I don't know if it's going to be good or not, but it'll probably be in a lot of people's purview to be like, I want to read a good Deadpool story. This is a good Deadpool story, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In the archives of Cave of Solitude, there's a interview with Fabian Nicieza where we dip into some of this stuff that's from this run. But I'm a big fan of this series, and I think we talked a little bit about it in the Deadpool Wolverine, but here it is coming out in August, first time in the Epic Collection format. Definitely go look for it.
I think, isn't it 18 issues?
It's 18 issues, yeah. And I don't know if it's just the first 18 or if there's anything extra in it, but
there'll probably be some like promo pieces and variant covers and stuff. But yeah, it comes to 424 pages, which is a nice bit of a chunker.
Yeah, it's a good chunker, and I think the full series will be 3 trades. It originally came out in the Ultimate Collection. It was in 3 trades.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a nice way to read it. Easy digestible chunks of Cable Deadpool to read. You're like, what's he gonna say next?
What's he gonna say? How many filthy jokes can I make out of it?
Screw you guys. All right, that's my number 4.
Okay, my number 5, my final one for the night, which is what I thought you'd nab, but maybe I'm nabbing it off you. I don't know. Let's see. It's the Scott Pilgrim 20th Anniversary Color Hardcover Box Set. There's also a black and white version that's coming out on the same day, so you can choose between color and black and white. It's been designed to look like a PlayStation box.
That's very cool.
It's really
I have a
cool
box
looking.
set of the Scott Pilgrim, the 3-part in color.
Yeah.
But I got it more specifically because of the box set design. It's in the format of a old landmark store in Toronto. It was Honest Ed's.
Oh, I remember you telling me. Yeah.
Yeah, and it had been there for, I say generations, in the sense of like families that have come and moved into Toronto. They have a story of going to Honest Ed's when they were kids, right? And then it was torn down, and they made condos,
right,
in the vicinity. And so the signage of this place it almost looked like a casino. It was all lights, and it was a big, huge storefront. You couldn't miss it if you drove by it. So the book is designed to look like the storefront. Right. And because Scott Pilgrim takes place in Toronto, it's like an homage to the once upon a time of that era. And I think they go there in the book, or he lives within that area. So it was a cool little thing to be like from the city, and you got that little piece of
That's
nostalgia to
pretty
remember.
sweet.
Yeah, like a once upon time.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's the box set I own, but I'm happy that it's something that that they're
Well,
re-releasing in different formats, in the color, the black and white, because it originally was like in a manga style black and white format.
well, yeah, and that's the thing. I think like for the purists or the people that want that style, it's available in that way, and it's also in color. The weird thing about it though is everywhere I've looked, the color version is cheaper. But that
Interesting.
could be because they're printing more. I don't know.
Hmm.
Because obviously
That's
the
interesting.
run cost will reduce such boring print shit. But the run cost will reduce if they produce more of something, they can make it cheaper. You know?
Well, it's important to know when it comes to what we're talking about, because
Yeah.
people are literally saying what's coming out to buy
Yeah,
that
exactly.
we're interested. So
I
yeah, this is
don't
what's going to affect your
normally
bottom
affect my
line.
bottom. I've dropped the link in the chat so people can have a look at what I'm talking about. The design is perfect. The thing with me is obviously I've had a lot of movement and change and stuff, and I did have this pre-ordered, and it was half price, and I've had to cancel it because it's a very pricey item, and I've had to cover a lot of shit lately. So I'm not going to get it, which is a little heartbreaking, but maybe another time, and the box will look completely different. It'll be 5 years time when they do another box set.
All right, rounded off. My last one for the evening, number 5. The book
No,
is
I have
called
not.
Loving Ohio. Here's the synopsis of it. So it's Loving, comma, Ohio, a
Oh,
place there.
okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So after the mysterious suicide of their friend, Sloane, Elliot, Cameron, and Anna are just trying to get through the rest of high school. They live in Loving, Ohio, a town built around the chorus, a new age cult with members firmly planted in positions of power and influence throughout the community. Murder, mystery, all kinds of shenanigans ensue.
Cults. Again with you and the
Cults.
cults.
I like that stuff. It interests me. There's just something, I don't know, just something interesting about it because it could
Uh-huh.
go anywhere,
I'm the same
right?
with monkeys
And
with
then
hats, so I can't knock you
exactly,
for it.
there you go. Your thing is a monkey with a hat on. I like a good cult.
Imagine if they did like a monkey with a hat cult book. That would be like we'd fight over that for the incoming.
We probably have to do a book club or like an
Yeah.
entire sub series of the podcast on it.
Yeah.
The monkey cult.
What'd you call me?
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know Matthew Ehrman. Have you heard of him
No,
before?
I
Shout out to
haven't.
Matthew Ehrman.
No, or Sam Beck, who's the illustrator. I'm not familiar with either.
Yeah.
So this is all new to me. But hey, it's good to. I love it when you do this because you just kind of go, yeah, and I found this book that I didn't remotely see. And you ever heard of it? Nope. Do you know what it's about? Nope. Have you heard the creators? Nope. I like that though because I miss doing that. Haven't done it as much this year. I used to always kind of like take a punt every month on something random.
Yeah, it's two times I picked something in regards to the cults.
In the same night.
In the same night. Why not? You got anything extra?
Well, here's some more stuff that's coming out in the month of August. Okay, so from Boom Studios, Once and Future Deluxe Volume 2, which I think rounds off the series. It's by Kieran Gillen, who you know I'm a big fan of, and Dan Mora, who I am a big fan of. But I don't know, it's one of those series that I'm kind of, I want to read, I want it for the art. But I think that finishes the series. Witchfinder Omnibus Volume 2 looks like they've re-released it in hardcover. If you haven't read that, or you're thinking, do I want a Hellboy spin-off? I haven't read Hellboy. Witchfinder stands alone. Volume 2 was in my top 20 2 years ago because it's amazing. There are some great stories in this book, and the payoff is there from start to finish. You don't need to read anything else on top. 100 Bullets Brother Lono Deluxe, which will, I think, fill up the rest of your 100 Bullets collection if you've got all Deluxe and Omnis. Absolute Batman Arkham Asylum is getting a re-release. There's a lot of re-releases. Batman by Paul Dini Omnibus is getting a re-release. Elseworlds Batman and Elseworlds Justice League Volumes 1 are coming out again. And I've got a soft spot for Elseworlds again all of a sudden. So I'm trying to fight the urge, dude. Now, Swamp Thing by Rick Veitch, I think it's pronounced. Book 1, Wild Things, which I think is the stuff that picks up after Alan Moore left. Flash by Messner Loebs and LaRock, Omnibus, Volume 1. Again, I'm not massively excited to read it, but I do want it. So we'll see what happens, because it's like post-crisis Flash relaunch with Wally West. So this is where he begins. IDW are releasing 30 Days of Night Deluxe Volume 2, which I think is the end of the collection, but I'm not 100% because I kind of lost track of 30 Days of Night. So I'm treating this as an opportunity to kind of read the whole lot in one go. They're also releasing David Mazzucchelli's Batman Year 1 Artist Edition, which looks incredible. So if you're a fan of Year 1, definitely pick that up. Be prepared though, because that baby ain't cheap. Right, so for Marvel, there's a lot of omnibus reprinting, including the Straczynski Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 1, Daredevil by Bendis Volume 1, Invincible Iron Man Omnibus Volume 3, which was the beginning of Iron Man stuff. But also Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 4 rounds out the series before Ultimate Spider-Man Death of Spider-Man Omnibus, and that will then be essentially the complete collection of the Peter Parker era. Also X-Factor, the original X-Men Omnibus, which is a bit of a bell-end move on Marvel's side of things, because they've kind of collected a lot of that stuff already in Mutant Massacre, Inferno, Fall of the Mutants, and all this other stuff. So it's...
Yeah.
I mean, on top of that, there's the Incredible Hulk Epic Collection Ground Zero, which was mentioned by Reed Breeze in the chat. That is the beginning of Peter David's run. Now, that has one of my favourite comics of all time in it, which is Incredible Hulk 340, and it's Grey Hulk versus Wolverine, and it's a much more learned and improved Wolverine who's leader of the X-Men at this point, so he's trying not to be the guy that resorts to the fight, and the Hulk is the grey, nasty bastard. I should have thrown that into my 5, but I didn't want to talk about Peter David again in depth, because I keep doing it. Finally, Valiant/Alien books. We've got 2 more Valiant Hero Universe Origins collections. There's Bloodshot and Rye. But yeah, there's tons of other stuff. Take a look, find what you love, share it in the chat,
and the Discord.
We'll shout it out. And the Discord. Recommend stuff to each other. That's what everyone's doing in the Discord, and it's costing everyone money. The Discord is, however, free.
There you go.
There you go.
Perfect. Well, Dave, as always, it's a blast. There's a lot of books coming. More to come in September. September's an expensive month.
Oh my God, September's we could probably do a top 40.
Yeah, probably. But with that said, I'm looking forward to when we do September.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Stay tuned, everybody, for the next upcoming episodes we got going on. We'll keep you posted with what's good. We got creator spotlight episodes coming up. Either way, stay tuned. We've got good stuff coming your way. Stay tuned. And as always, visit the omniversecomics.guide.
Yes, please do.
For all the reading orders, all the podcast stuff, all the good stuff that Dave puts up to scratch that comic book reading itch. There he is. All he needs is a little detective hat, and he looks like a monkey in a detective monkey. There you go.